Mail, everybody. Hey, Cantonese Cat here. Just want to do a quick members only video, kind of sharing my thoughts about the market. A couple of weeks ago, about 3, 4 weeks ago, I really thought that the market still looked pretty good. The bull market is still pretty strong. And right now, here we go. We got a pretty good bounce. If you look at the monthly or the weekly chart, sometimes it may not show you in terms of what you might expect. For example, if you look at the Bollinger Band on the monthly, just way outside the 20-month moving average, right? Like, is it going to plummet all the way down to back test it? Does it have to happen? The answer is no. If you look at previous bull market, it can stay away from the 20-month moving average for a very, very long time, doesn't even touch it, right? So I don't think it necessarily has to happen. Now, the question would be more like, is this correction over? Is this going to be it, or is it going to go down a lot further, right? That's also a very, very interesting question. And if you look at a lower time frame, let's say, for example, you look at a weekly, that also is a little bit tricky because a lot of times when you have a bull market, you are really looking at some maybe back testing the 20-week moving average and that's it. But sometimes it does go a little bit lower than that, and you wonder whether or not it goes back down to touch the Bollinger Band underneath. That's always certainly a possibility, right? But it doesn't always have to do that. Like it did it over here around the correction that went all the way through October 2023. But it doesn't have to do that. Over here, this last bull market from 2020 2021, you have barely really broke down underneath the 20-week moving average. In the bull market before that, you had multiple touches that kind of went down, but didn't really touch the low Bollinger Band, right? And you also have a couple of touches of the low Bollinger Band over here too, right? So it's hard to know how far sometimes you look at a weekly or monthly time frame in terms of what to expect. I like to look at the 2 week. What I mean by the 2 week is this gives you like a little bit of good intermediary in terms of what you expect it may do for bull market. Usually, if you look at the 2 week, it really gives you a pretty decent idea. If you have a correction, most likely it's going to hit the median here, which is going to be actually a 40-week moving average. And if you can see over here, hit that almost perfectly the last couple of weeks. And you see over here around October 2023, it did go down a little bit. It didn't really go down that sustainably, right? Because it's a bull market forming nothing but higher highs and higher lows. So I think it's a pretty good bet that the 40-week, moving average based on the Bollinger Band here, as long as it's not being like way overextended, I think the 40-week moving average here would generally be a pretty decent spot in terms of buying. I mean, it can go down a little bit, but that seems to be the case, right? The last bull cycle is just really just way too money being printed. It just never really hit that area. But the cycles before that, you can see like whenever it corrects, unless it was like a big, downturn like we did have around the end of 2018 with the scare of the trade crisis with China, or with COVID, we just went way underneath the Bollinger Band here, right? And you also have a little bit of a minor, recession kind of market crash around 2015, 2016, right? But beyond that, you're really talking about hitting the 2 week moving average, not 2 week moving average, the 2 week chart here with the 40-week moving average. If it gets down to there, if it's still a sustainable bull market, it just seems like it just kind of corrects there and then it just bounce. Even over here, you have a big wick underneath, but that was just a wick that got resolved within 2 weeks. But if it's a bear market, generally it does want to touch the lower Bollinger Band on the 2 week. And even over here around the bear market of 2022, once it went way underneath the Bollinger Band here on the 2 week, that was probably a pretty decent buying opportunity around June 2022. I mean, granted, it did make a little bit of a lower low over here, wick down a little bit further, but generally it seems like it's a pretty decent buying opportunity, even for a vicious bear market of 2022, if it like just extends way underneath the lower Bollinger Band, right? The current situation, and this is the S&P 500, current situation is higher highs and higher lows. Even that right there is a higher low. And it's just simply back test the median, the 40-week. There's really nothing scary about the market, is what I'm trying to say. QQQ, same thing, right? Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing. If anything, you got a little bit of Bollinger Band squeeze over here with a very, very much rising 40-week moving average. I wonder if it expands. Dow Jones probably going to lead the pack, maybe. The small cap, you're having a very, very same thing, very much a very strong rising 40-week moving average. And price just been really kind of just going up along with it. Bollinger Band squeeze over here on the 2 week chart, right? So just something to think about. Um, I would also venture to look and see what the rates are doing. And it's tough to say in terms of what short-term yields are going to be in correlation with the market. But I do have reason to suspect, I'm going to turn this to regular. I do have reasons to really suspect that the top of the peak of the yields is going to be around October 2023. I really don't care what the Fed does because the Fed follows data. The Fed lags. Sometimes the market doesn't do things for them already, you know. So if you look at the two-year yield, you are looking at a monthly chart, and the monthly chart is very, very telltale. It's basically a big, giant rounding top over here. So the natural progress of this kind of look is going to be down, especially on a higher time frame like this. Just looking at other, indicators, even the Ichimoku, like you're just having a little bit of a dead continuous bounce over here at the Kijun count rising up, and the Tenkan is kind of negative sloping, right? So if the Tenkan is negative sloping, it really does tell me I think things are going to end up, probably going to hit the cloud down here around. I can see yields staying around like 2 to 3% moving forward. And it really does, it really does look like it wants to roll over. That's what it looks like to me. So if you are looking at the Bollinger Band, the Bollinger Band already tell you that the 20-month moving average is already crawling over. It's negative sloping now. It already has plummeted. It already looked kind of weak over here, right? Went underneath the 20. 20 is already flattening. Now it's flattened. Now it's negative sloping. And right now the yield's underneath of the 20-month moving average. It tells me most likely it's probably going to end up keep going down. And I think it's probably going to keep going down maybe around like 3 to 3.5 range, somewhere around there for the 2 year, which would mean increased global liquidity, or at least increase access to liquidity for the USA. And you already can tell too, like the 2 year yield went at peak October 2023, right? The US money supply went at the bottom October 2023. So all these are really very much correlated, and currently money supply is going up. So I really have a hard time really being too bearish when it comes to things like Bitcoin and the S&P 500. I really have a hard time seeing the indexes and and Bitcoin really going down that much further. It can. If it does, then the greater opportunity there is, as far as I'm concerned. If you also look at one last thing I want to show you is the US dollar. Is the US dollar doing the same thing? Yeah, you had a bearish cross over here around October 2023. Right. That was probably the peak of the US dollar right here, or local peak over here. And since then, really, the US dollar really haven't had like made any higher high at all. And so far, you had a bearish cross, and right now prices drop underneath the Tenkan. And it's probably going to gravitate towards the cloud. I think it might get to like $100 range, sorry, 100 range for the US dollar, and that could precipitate a move for Bitcoin to go up higher. And if you also look at the the Bollinger Band, it also is very much squeezed. And when I see these Bollingers and squeeze, when I see the 20-month moving average kind of gone down, and right now the price is underneath the 20. It does tell me it probably wants to gravitate towards like 100. And you might find some temporary support there, but overall the trend seems to be a dead cat bounce after dead cat bounce after dead cat bounce. I think it's probably gonna go down further. Sorry, I got a little bit of congestion. I just want to do a quick video here, kind of share you my thoughts. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I have a hard time being too bearish on this market. Let me see what I see here on a 2 week, right? 2 weeks, same thing. It tells you that you might be precipitating a potentially a bit of a trend change here after just consolidating sideways for quite some time. And then weekly, you already have the US dollar kind of just wanted to plummet further, but it just had a hard time doing that so far in the short term because the Bollinger Band needs to expand further to allow US dollar to drop down a little bit further, but it looks like it wants to. But anyway, just want to share my thoughts, and please, um, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I just wanted to do a little bit of a video here. I might share this video publicly after like sometime this weekend, but I just want to appreciate you being a member to the channel. Just want to share you my thoughts. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Bye.